The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary-related entertainment.
Aloha and happy 4th of July to everyone out there listening to our show today. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where you'll find us talking story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support the needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's Cabinet and Appliance Showroom located in the Waikapu Bayshard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. During this hour, we share some of the experiences of our nonprofit agencies and just how they're changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope for those with needs. And today we're going to start off the show talking with Jessica Kraus. Are you the area program manager for Patch?
Yes, the Maui County Coordinator.
That's close enough.
Sure.
You're it.
Yes.
You're an office of one.
Oh, no. We are an office of 5. So there's
cool.
4 program staff and then my role, the coordinator position.
Gotcha. Okay. So you do a little more than I think your website leads me to believe over here.
Yes. So our mission is to improve and support the availability and quality of childcare for the young children of Hawaii, and we have a multitude of programs that we offer towards that mission. What we're best known for is the Child Care Referrals Program, where families can call us, get lists of licensed child care providers in their area, information on how to choose the program that's the best fit for them, as well as resources on options to help them pay for childcare too. Childcare is a huge expense for families. A report came out a few months ago that said that families will spend more money on a year of childcare than they do for a year of in-state college tuition.
Oh my gosh.
It's amazing to think about, but it's the reality that we're in. So it's great that there's resources out there to help pay for childcare costs and support families to have that access.
Wow. You know, now that I think about it, different folks that I know who have young kids talk about the sometimes $400 a week. Mm-hmm. Is that kind of an average, or is that a high number, or?
So it depends on the program. There's different types of programs. There's family child care where the provider works out of their home. They can care for up to 6 children at a time. There's also licensed center programs like preschools or infant and toddler centers. And so there's a bunch of different factors that go into an agency or program's costs. So the number of children in the classroom might be a factor, the age of the children. Infant and toddler care is typically more expensive than care for older children. Preschools, you know, sometimes they might be part of a certain type of model of program or structure, and so there might be additional fees for different kinds of curriculum materials, or some programs have different accreditation requirements of their teachers, so that could be an influence too. I think average family child care costs here on Maui is somewhere between $600 and $700 a month. That's pretty typical. Preschools are typically more expensive than that. Infant and toddler centers are more expensive than that. There's a few that are pushing $1,000 a month, so it's definitely a very real expense for our families.
Now that's climbed over the last years. I mean, actually, the whole emphasis on preschool or childcare has changed, has shifted. It used to be find somebody to sit with the kids while mom works.
Right.
Now it's let's find somebody who can teach them something while mom works.
Yes. There's a lot of research out there that shows that early childhood education and the experiences children have before the age of 5 are the most critical learning time for them. So the more exposure they have to activities and curriculum that stimulates their ability for like sensory motor development, or how to interact with other children socially and how to interact with adults appropriately, and all of those different things that we're seeing in current high quality childcare programs really make a difference in whether or not a child needs special education services later on, whether or not they graduate from high school, if they pursue higher education, if they get involved with crime as adults. There's a lot of research now that shows how early childhood education is really the critical key component that we need.
Wow. all these years, I don't remember that I had anything except first grade.
I had television,
Well, yeah, you're a couple years younger than I am.
but still, stuck on the floor in front of a TV set's not the norm these days
Right.
for childcare at all.
So who were you watching?
Sesame Street.
Oh,
That was a
Sesame
big
Street.
one.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I was watching Mickey Mouse Club, Howdy Doody. Yeah, Wes. We've got Wes Lowe here as the CEO of Holly McCool Health Services. Who'd you watch as a kid? Or you didn't get that?
Was it Checkers and Pogo?
Oh, local show.
Yeah, and I would listen to the radio. I would listen to Chuck Leahy and broadcast the Hawaii Islanders while I was using my rotary phone. How's that? So
I think we have 3 generations sitting here. Yeah, that's true. Because there wasn't a lot of TV when you were a kid. The local station was.
Susie, just like you, I had the foil on the antenna, and there was 3 stations, 2, 4, and 9, and I think we had PBS, the channel 11.
Oh, okay.
And that was it.
That was it. Yeah. Interesting times. Oh boy. So, but now your kids, who are now what, college age?
I have a 22-year-old and a 14-year-old.
Oh, okay. College is in between them.
Right.
They obviously went to some preschool or some.
Yes, preschool, childcare, the whole gamut, and it is complicated now, and times have changed so much. I think places like Patch are very helpful for the parents, for us guys that didn't know how to, what to look for, etc. And I think for us old folks like me, the speed of change has been so great that we don't really. You need to raise kids much differently than we were raised, and we don't know.
Right.
Things have changed so fast. So.
Right. And we kind of marvel that we turned out as well as we did through the archaic times we lived.
Speak for yourself.
Oh.
Right?
But I think you're right, though. We don't know enough to know that you can just go down the street and enroll your child in preschool.
Right.
Or in a child care center. Or if you've got a friend who's starting a program in their house. Is that good enough? Is that okay? I mean, there's so many variables.
Absolutely.
And that's what you help people go through, right?
Yeah, we help people go through that, and also we help them think about what the best fit would look like for them. A reality of Hawaii is that we have so many different cultures here, which is wonderful. So sometimes clients come in who might be raising their child to be bilingual, and there's a few providers who speak in different languages as well. So just to help them identify what questions they can ask when they're visiting a provider's facility, what to look for in the space. Are they seeing child-proof locks on the countertop cabinets? The different kinds of components, just to help them feel like they've got the information they need to make the choice that's right for them, too.
So do you physically go out and inspect all these places so you have the first-hand data?
We don't do the
that's done?
inspections.
Okay.
The Department of Human Services is the licensing agency, so they inspect all facilities before anyone can be licensed to provide childcare. And then there's also some, I believe, occasional check-ins that they do too. So we also support family child care providers who participate in the USDA food program. So providers who are on the food program serve healthy and nutritious snacks and meals. They provide a variety of fruits and vegetables and different items throughout the month to the children. They get a financial reimbursement that comes from the USDA as a recognition of the effort they're putting into that high quality food and nutrition. And then we do some support visits for them throughout the year. So that's one way that we support the providers too. But if someone's becoming licensed and they have questions and they want us to go look, help them identify how to set up their home to be most conducive, make sure they have the measurements for the square footage they need, anything like that. We have a lot of support services we offer people who are even thinking about starting a childcare business.
Interesting. Is there some level of growth in that area?
Not lately, but
Really?
we need growth because there's more than 10,000 children under the age of 5 in Maui County, but licensed programs can only support a little over 3,000 of those children.
Oh my goodness.
which is amazing. And not everyone wants to use childcare. Some people, are able to be stay-at-home parents. Some people have relatives they trust. There's a lot of different models of early childhood care and education that work, but we don't have enough licensed providers to meet the need that currently exists. So we definitely need more providers. So if anyone out there listening has an interest, give us a call. We can help answer your questions. But childcare is a great, rewarding thing to do when
Right.
people have that passion. And
What kind of a, I don't want to say background, but what kind of skills or what kind of a psyche do they need to have to go into doing a program like this?
that's a great question. So there's really very little tangible experience that's required to get licensed. I would say people who are successful will have a passion for caring for and interacting with young children and nurturing them. Young children need a lot of physical activity and need to move around a lot and do different things and learn. And so people who want to help kind of play with them and have that experience and teach them words and letters and colors and all of that exciting early childhood fun, fluffy stuff too. Most childcare programs are self-owned businesses. All family childcare program owners run their own business, and so there's some tools that if anyone has business experience, it will be very helpful. But at Patch, we have a lot of resources for people who haven't. I would say most of the people who come in to our office looking to start a program do not have any business background. It's just something they thought, that might be a great thing for them to do. They'll have the flexibility of setting their own schedules. They'll be able to work from home, have that ownership and that accomplishment of doing something that makes a really big difference in the community and is a great service too. So
For some, is it a way for them to not only help others with that need, but maybe they have one or two at home that they would normally have out with someone else, but they do it themselves and then bring those folks in to make it more of a teaching situation or
absolutely.
a classroom or a full house sort of deal.
Absolutely. There's a lot of child care providers who have their own children under the age of 5, or there's some who are grandmas or aunties who are caring for some relative children, but then by being licensed, they're able to bring in other children as well and actually earn income to help care for those children. And so they get to be involved in setting the standard of what they want to see their children experience and also provide that high quality education to other kiddos too.
Interesting. Now, when you do it, set it up like for yourself in the situation like we just talked about. Are we talking how many children would they be licensed for?
So family child care providers can be licensed to care for up to 6 children. Sometimes if someone has school-age children who are out during the day and they're really not engaged with the program, they won't necessarily count towards that number 6. But if someone has like their own infant that they're going to care for, that infant will count towards their
Okay, so it could be
approved
2 of your
kiddos.
own and 4 others.
Sure.
And that's what age group now?
Typically
up to
0 to 6. Some providers get
okay.
licensed to care for children up through the age of about 12, which
really?
is great for families who might have summer vacations where the parents themselves continue to work, but they need to be able to have somewhere safe and engaging for their slightly older children too.
That's an interesting situation because I know a lot of times I hear people talking about how, oh man, I thought it was going to be such a neat couple of weeks off because the kids would be in, have their child care going and so on and so forth, and their provider announces they're taking those same 10 days out of, and it's like, oh, now what do I do? And they start hunting for camps to send them to or whatever. But it is their own business, so they can pick and choose when they're going to be open.
They do. I think a lot of providers do a good job of communicating that information in their policy handbooks or scheduling vacations far in advance. So typically what families have shared with me is that they have good communication. But
Good.
that's definitely a question for families to ask too, is do they include their annual holidays in their policy handbook? What is the sick leave policy for the provider? What's the provider's policy if any of the kids in the program themselves are under the weather or ill? So providers all have pretty comprehensive policy handbooks that they have to review with any families coming into their program. So it's a great way for families to sort of get a good feel for what that experience is, how the program's managed, what they can expect.
Right. And then I suppose what the activity or the level of activity that they do depends on what the children are capable of in that age group. I mean, because every child is so different.
Yes.
So the part of the secret would be to have the children kind of at the same starting point, if you will, or something.
Some do. There are definitely some family child care providers who take in kiddos who are all around the same age point, and then they'll stay with those kids until they leave to either go to a year of preschool before kindergarten or go straight into kindergarten themselves. So some providers find a lot of success by kind of creating this cohort experience and working with this one group. And then there's other providers who have 2 infants under a year old, and then they've got kiddos at different ages from a year up. And people, it works differently for different people, and they find their passion in their different settings. And so the more people we have coming in, the better.
And if you look at kind of the average family, you don't have anybody the same ages in the family, and yet the kids get along, they play, they learn from each other.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of an extension of that, if that's the situation.
Sure, definitely it can be.
We got to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we're back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where you'll find us talking story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out what's happening in their world. And today we started the show off talking with Jessica Kraus, who is the Maui coordinator. That's as far as I'm going to go with it.
Perfect.
For PATCH. And PATCH stands for?
People Attentive to Children.
And I love that. I just think that's so cool. It's kind of like a patch. For the right, I mean that's so appropriate, and I think that for the longest time I didn't understand exactly what PATCH did because they didn't have a school, they didn't have this or that, and I'm thinking, okay, what are they doing? Well, actually, you're in the training and coordinating business.
Yes. So we help people find childcare. We help people who want to become providers navigate the licensing process. We have free trainings on child health, safety, and development that are open to anyone who works with or cares for young children. There's a registry we maintain to track provider credentials for preschool teachers, directors, things like that. The state has specific guidelines people have to meet to be eligible to be in some of these positions working with young children.
If something were to happen at a preschool, that maybe they needed to pull somebody's license or something, that you'd be one of the first people notified?
We would get notified at some point. We work with the state to manage a database of all licensed providers. So if there were a situation where a provider's license were being suspended, PATCH would get that information. Sometimes people call us to file complaints about experiences they may have had, but we always also encourage them to contact Department of Human Services as the actual licensing agency. DHS would be the ones who would investigate and follow up on any complaints to verify what happened and do their investigation.
I see. So now we see different places. There may be this really nice yard, and it's got all these toys, equipment, and things out, and it's huge. It's like it's part of a regular school. Can they be licensed for more than the 6 people?
There's ways to be licensed for more than 6 people. There's definitely licenses out there, and there's options. So if anyone's interested in that, it can be a very viable thing. There are a few people here on island who have done programs out of their homes where they've cared for more than 6 children. It just requires navigating a different licensing path.
I see. And probably more staff, obviously, to go with that.
Yeah, there's requirements for how many adults there are per children in different age groups for the state. So it's definitely a good question to ask. There have been people who started off as family child care and then with the help of maybe another family member have expanded to care for more than 6 children. So it's definitely, there's a lot of opportunities out there on how to do it, what program works right for the people who are running it, what feels good to them, how many children they're comfortable caring for at a time too. Some people are happy to have 6 children, some people only want 3 or 4, so there's a lot of versatility in this field.
Interesting. And then, of course, along with that goes, you have to provide food, snacks, lunch, breakfast, whatever, for most of the kids in programs like this, right?
It depends. So some providers have the families send the kiddos with food each day.
Oh, okay.
So they have their lunch boxes or whatever they do, but a lot do provide snacks and meals. Some providers even garden, and the food that they grow, and they teach the children the gardening and how to interact with plants and care for plants. Then they do things like make pasta sauce with the vegetables they've grown, or
Wow.
salads, or the sky's the limit. So there's a lot going on out there, and that's another great question for families to ask is, does the provider serve food? What are they serving? What types of meals? Do they have examples of menus from food they've served recently? All of that.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Have you found your time at Patch to be very, very interesting and enlightening, good?
Yes, all of the above. It's been amazing. Just learning more about what young children need to develop successfully, and what high-quality programs look like, and just to see the work of what we have here available in Maui County. There's so many people who are so engaged with young children here, and there's a really great community to be a part of here. So it's been a really wonderful experience.
That's great. Do they these providers ever get together? I mean, do they have an association or some organization that they belong to, or do they just kind of through organizations like yours when you have training sessions? I suppose they meet there sometimes when your workshops.
Yeah, we host the workshops. We also host quarterly provider engagement events that we invite providers to come to. So sometimes those might be a training workshop. Other times they're socials that providers themselves are hosting where they're opening up their program to others. In April, we had a brunch at the Lavender Farm up country.
Oh, wow.
That was really wonderful. So we do different activities as we can. But we want to, that's something we're working on, is to increase the engagement and the networking for them, because especially if they're in family child care, they're often running their own program at home. They might not have a lot of opportunities to interact with other child care providers. So that's something that Patch is working to support all of those people too.
Right. Just kind of an off the wall question. The usual, if there is such a thing, provider, their hours would be from what in the morning to what in the afternoon?
So a lot of providers are open from around the 7:30, 8 a.m. range until 3:30, 4, 5 o'clock in the evening, Monday through Friday. There are a few providers who operate on weekends, Saturdays or Sundays too, and then there's a few who either have evening shifts or overnight shifts. So it's really up to the provider on what works for them too, right? So some providers might only be open for 4 days a week and have whatever hours they have, but there's a few providers that are open for 24-hour care. So if there's a parent who might work evenings or night shifts for something, there are some providers that they can possibly be connected with
So
to support their
folks out there, don't give up.
Yes.
Make a call to Patch.
Yes, please. We're
And
here to help.
What's your number?
242-9232.
242-9232. And you cover the islands of Lanai and Molokai as well?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Is there a larger, well, not a larger need, but a more critical need on those islands?
There's a need everywhere. Lanai, they have expanded with a public preschool in recent years too, so they have a little more offerings than they used to, at least. And then there's a couple of others. Molokai has some preschools, but Molokai only has 2 licensed family child care providers right now. So there are more than 12 children under the age of 6 living on the island in some programs. And I think Molokai, they have probably a lot more of that family networking care too, which is nothing, that can be a wonderful option for families, but we are here to help people get licensed to care for more than what they're legally allowed to as a licensed exempt provider too.
Gotcha. We're just about out of time. Do you have any last minute thoughts that you'd like to convey to the folks out there?
Oh my goodness. When you see people out there working with young children, say thank you, because they put in so much time and passion, and we're so lucky to have such a strong network that we do have, and they do amazing work.
Good point. We can't take it for granted, don't we? Those of us who don't have the kids at this point in time, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, childcare is a critical need to support a stable economy. There's a lot in that realm that I won't go into today, but we're lucky to have the providers we do have. We need more providers. We have lots of kiddos under the age of 5, so it's definitely a strong service to have.
Wonderful. Boy, I think you've said it all in a short, quick time.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah. That's because I've always respected what Patch stood for with the parents and children together, not necessarily knowing exactly how you operated, and you've really clarified that for me.
Excellent. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, and we'll see you again along the way.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Take care.
Will do. We shift gears now, and we talk to Wes Lowe, who's the Chief Executive Officer for Holly Makua Health Services. Hi, Wes.
Good afternoon, Susie.
You give me that look like, what? Now what do we do? A deer in the headlights. Yeah. No, we're gonna talk story with you, I think, about your future plans for Holly Makua, and maybe not necessarily how I think we all know how we got here. I mean, it's just been a growing problem, and seems like for a while maybe we had it kind of under control, although you and I have talked on many occasions about how many different choices can be made for people who not only need rehab or recovery time and space, but now we're looking at a real issue with a senior population.
Yeah, Susie, it's been really fascinating jumping into this long-term care space, and a lot of just luck and opportunities have sort of come to us in Holly Makua, and a lot of foresight from my predecessor. I do want to do a shout out to Tony Krieg, who had a lot of vision. But I am a geek, so I like to look at charts and numbers, and the board, the Holly Makua board, has been looking at this for some time. Is how do they keep on providing care, since we are pretty much, other than Kula Hospital, we are the major provider of long-term care services for our community. And there's this graph that I have that just is stunning, and I am a baby boomer, but the baby boomers have changed every phase of life as they've moved through it because of the massive amount of people in it. And what was stunning is that, believe it or not, when you look at the birth rates, the people that are nursing home age, let's say 75 to 85 years old, we actually are in a low point over the last many, many decades. We're not at a high point.
Okay.
And the baby boomers, so I will be turning 60 in a couple of years. And just think about it, when I hit 75, that is when the high point comes. And it is a spectacular growth. And I think that, the way healthcare goes is you can't say miracle happens when. You got to start planning it now.
Right.
I just want to prove that I am a geek. In the next 5 years, the 65 and over population will grow by 23%. And that's just the beginning. By 2040, Maui County's population, there's some stunning numbers. The 65 and over population will grow by 100%, and the 85 and over population will grow by almost 250%.
My gosh.
And there's one other more geekiness is the other thing that's really kind of scary about this is the proportion of workforce is going to shrink. The 65 and over category easily outpaces all the other categories of demographics in the state and the growth rates. I mean, it's stunning. And Maui actually is aging faster than the U.S. in these categories. Anyway, so I needed to prove that I am a geek. So.
I got lost back on the low point that we're at, and it's low because that was during war years.
Yeah, so
the birth rates were way low.
Yeah, so it was sort of I would characterize it as after the Depression, or during sort of the aftermath of the Great Depression. So they consider baby boomers 1945 to 1965. Okay. So prior to that, the people that are 80 now, they were probably born in 1937-ish or so. Right. So. There really was, I think, economically, et cetera, there was not as many births.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it with that kind of growth, I mean, what do we do?
Right. So, we've been trying to ponder that, and the board, the Halemakua board, is a great community board, had said, well, how do we deal with this? And we have 2 aging facilities. Really, last I checked, Wailuku and Kahului are old facilities. And it will take a lot of money and effort to keep them up. And so they embarked upon a mission saying, well, how do we deal with this? And let's go start maybe working on a master plan. Just after they did that request for proposals, Tony Creek had always thought about maybe building into the Kahului Community Center for some expansion.
And for the audience, let's kind of paint a picture for them of where you are in relation.
Okay. So Kahului Community Center is 34 acres. Most people know it by the soccer fields on Onihei and the tennis courts and Kokua Pool. It actually goes further down towards Kaulana and La'au, which is called the Gate Ball Field.
Okay.
Okay, and Halemakua is down right next to that Gate Ball Field. So in any event, this Gate Ball Field is not as used as many of the other fields. And for years, Tony had wondered if there could be some expansion to deal with the aging population. And I happened to run into the mayor after I had started a year and a half ago, and said if we could talk about it. And he said, sure, yeah, that makes sense. We got a lot more parks coming up, and maybe we can do something. And then the transformation happened. We started studying the demographics, healthcare, and the mayor. I went to meet with the mayor with Roy Katsuda actually, and we started talking about, well, if we're going to do something at Kahului Community Center, maybe we could do something by Halemaho'olu, because it's the moderate, low-income seniors, independent seniors who, we could potentially do some joint services for them. We're surrounded by them. I mean, I want to say 300 to 400 units surround us, literally next to us or across the street from us. And the mayor surprised me, and he said, well, why don't you just take the whole park? And true story, I told him, excuse me, Mayor, I need to go to the bathroom to throw up. Because, that's such a huge thing. And then he said, no, Wes, not right away, but think about it, that wouldn't it be great to have a senior-oriented recreational area, et cetera, and sort of evolving from there. Meanwhile, we were starting to do some of our healthcare work, and it's pretty clear that we need to redesign the delivery system, too. While we're thinking about this, we can't just keep on building the way we're doing it. Healthcare costs are spiraling out of control. The most expensive places to get healthcare are the hospital and then nursing facilities. So we started thinking about it, and with Halemakua surrounded by a lot of elderly residents, I think as part of this whole plan is if we build something that could also take care of people at home, because they, believe it or not, they sleep better and eat better when they're at home than in a hospital or a skilled nursing facility.
Right.
And if there's no option, we want to provide a home-like environment for them. So that was sort of the genesis of the thoughts, and we've been sort of slowly working our way through the council and the county council and through, with the mayor's assistance.
So the outside of the community center and the park in general, it's basically all residential. I mean, it's all built up. There's no open spaces
in Kahului.
Yeah, around where you are.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's Maui High and there's some parks there, but this is sort of the probably not a good way to characterize, but it's the senior it's the center of the senior population in Maui, because as I look at the increments, as I drive there every day, that's an older neighborhood, and there's a lot of multi-generational homes there, et cetera. So there's a lot of seniors there. So a lot of people are in Halemaho'olu, which delivers a wonderful product.
Right.
And so, how do you? I mean, it's such an opportunity. I actually always say that our forefathers in the county of Maui's history were really brilliant. You think about some of the things they thought of and planned, they never got to see it bear fruits, are like the hospital, Cameron Center, MEO, and they're all right next to each other up on Mahalani Street. And then you think about this, is you got Halemaho'olu, Halemakua, and you have this park, and wouldn't it be great to just continue on that legacy and just build something for the seniors, walking environment, et cetera. So.
Right. Hold that thought. We'll take a short break.
Gotcha.
We'll be right back.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out what's going on in their world. And as we celebrate the 4th of July, can you believe it's 4th of July time? It's like, I don't know what happened to the first half of this year.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, there were so many things that I had planned, and some of them got done, and others are still in the planning, and I guess that's the way it goes every year, but it seems like it went so much faster. And I don't think it's an age thing, because you're saying the same thing. Right. Gary's saying the same thing. You guys are kids compared to me. Jessica said that earlier today, and she's kids compared to all of us. So it's like, what in the world is going on? But we have these issues that, and I think you kind of said it in the first part of the show, it's like you sit there and you look at it. These are not your words. This is what I took from what you said, so please feel free to correct me. We look at this and we say, we've got to do something. And then all of a sudden we should have done something. But now how do we jump back in and make up for that lost time and still be prepared for this boom that's coming up in 20 years? Yeah.
I think we're fortunate right now, but I think we have to act now. We have no choice. And it's a whole restructure of the whole system. It's the payment system. It's the workforce development. It's changing the way we take care of our elders, et cetera. So. In a way, it's a great thing that we have this opportunity to do it, and we actually stumbled across a really good opportunity with the park. Right. But I think, as you mentioned to me, and I want to make it clear, is we're not looking to take away the park either. I mean, we have an opportunity to do some things, and we're trying to phase this slowly. And there's some really brilliant people at the county have suggested ways at this that we can develop part of the park initially, the gate ball field. And then the next phase is what they call the community center, which is an old community center, but we would not develop that until a new community center is built, and the parks director approves it. And as many people know, is they are looking at a new community center probably about a mile down the road by Pomaikai School. Right. I'm not exactly sure where they are on that, but we're guesstimating 3 to 5 years on that. And then the balance of that. We're still working with council on how we would work that, but it would be the pool, Kokua pool, and then the soccer fields and tennis courts. And we actually are thinking that at earliest it would be 10 years from now, and that we have agreed that with the county is that we would not be developing unless they find replacement facilities or it's deemed that there's adequate facilities, because the Parks Department is expanding a lot of facilities in the Kahului area.
And there's some right there within that area.
Right,
it's close by.
Very
It's
close,
not,
very close.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to, I always think, and many of you remember up at Wailuku Pool, Jojo Apo used to give swim lessons to all the kupuna up there. And when we saw the pool and we started thinking about it, going, wouldn't it be great for a vibrant community, intergenerational community, to have these activities there, whether it's Kokua Pool or not. And so we want to explore that. We're not looking to cover that thing with buildings. In fact, the walking paths and gardening are essential to take care of ourselves as we age, to cure the ailments of aging, which is loneliness, boredom, and hopelessness, right? We want to provide a vibrant, active place. So.
Right. The goal is not to have them sitting around or lying around, it's to have them active.
Right.
Before the show, you were talking a little bit about some of the things that you have now that I found very interesting to keep the seniors active.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the games, some of the gosh, for a better word, I don't know what it is, but tell us about some of the things that they get to do. Yeah,
well, first I got to say, working at Halemakua has been eye-opening. The activities staff and the staff in general, they're all going to heaven, boy. The things they have those people doing, the smiles. We have pet therapy. We do bowling. It's just not the normal bingo anymore. There's all kinds of activities. We even were talking about having boxing. We don't have it yet, but when we say boxing, obviously we're not going to be striking anybody, but it's to get muscle movement and create balance for certain types of ailments, etc. But there's a very vibrant and active life. They do excursions daily. There's, we have a lot of entertainers come, and it's amazing to see the smiles on these faces, and we actually have some of the senior clubs come and play music, and it's warms my heart. And those are special people that take care of our kupuna,
right?
For sure.
And it's so amazing, because that's not the stereotypical vision you have when you think of a place like Halemakua.
Right. Well, I think that's right, and I think over time things are changing. You will know of or have heard of people. Pretty soon you get your knee or hip replaced. You're not going to stay in the hospital. You're going to go home, or you're going to go to a nursing facility one day after surgery.
Right.
So it's already happening now.
Right.
And the most expensive place to get care is at the hospital, because they have to provide 24/7 critical coverage.
Right.
And there's studies that show that you do better at home. And so I think that we need to create a better healthcare delivery system where we can take higher acuity and more home-like settings.
Right.
And so it's not going to be the nursing home is in traditional senses. I'd love to see more people age in place. As we talk about our facility, some of the things that get me excited if we could build it is, one, if there was a senior center there like a Kaunoa, where there's active, vibrant place with baristas and everything there. But also from a healthcare perspective is, with all those people in the increments in the Halemaho'olu, wouldn't it be great to go back to house calls from a physician?
Ooh.
And you could go to your outpatient therapy there, and you eat better, sleep better at home. You have nurses visit you at home. That solves a lot of the problems, and I think that people are going to just enjoy it better. I mean, institutional places are not where people want to be. I mean, they're great institutions, but medicine is changing so fast, so we need to adapt to that. So, I mean, those are some of the dreams we have, So, we're really excited to be working with the county on this property.
It's so visionary. I love it. When talking about replacing knees, when I had my second knee replaced, the things had changed so much in just the 3 years between the first knee and the second one. And I said, what do I have to do to get out of here tomorrow? That's the same after coming out of recovery, right? And the doctor said, you have to be able to go up and down steps because you got a 2-story house. And I said, that's it? He said, yeah. And well, he said, first of all, he put his hand out, straight out, and he said, try touching my hand with your foot, the leg we just worked on. And I just bam up to his hand, even knocked it in the air, right? And he said, what did you just do? And I said, well, what you told me. I'm a person who I obey orders, And he says, you shouldn't have been able to do that. I said, then I shouldn't be able to go home tomorrow, right? And he goes, now come on. He said, I know in about a couple hours we're going to have you up walking around. But he said, you're not going to try the stairs. And I said, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It's changed. It's changed. I mean, people have open heart surgery are usually home in 2 or 3 days now.
Right.
It's better for the healthcare system. It's better for the person. Obviously, you need to make sure that there's appropriate care, but
Exactly.
we need to redesign it a little bit differently. And I think that's one of our goals is to redesign ourselves to adapt to the future. Otherwise, healthcare costs will go through the roof. They already are.
Right.
And I think all employers and just us as individuals are having a hard time keeping up with
Yeah.
that.
Well, I looked at it from a standpoint of how much less expensive it was for the whole system
Right.
to have somebody from Halemakua come once every, was it 3 days or something, to check on the leg and to make sure I was doing my
Right.
exercises and things and progressing, so that when I went back to the doctor, he'd say, I guess we did a good thing.
Right.
And it worked. I mean, it was beautiful because I'm home. I'm loving it.
Yeah, awesome.
And somebody comes in for an hour and a half, whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're done, and you're at home.
Yeah.
You're at home. You can do. I know you love to work, and so you could do work, right?
Oh,
et cetera.
really? Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's the goal for the future. I think it's a good thing for everybody involved. And so we just we have an opportunity here. We got to figure it out now, and it's always easy to dream and hard to do.
Right.
So.
But thank goodness we have visionaries like you that are willing to get out there and put it forward. I mean, because a lot of people might be thinking it, but saying, oh, come on, that's not ever going to happen in my lifetime. I think we've got to forget that. These things are happening in our lifetimes. And if what the predictions are for the length of life for us, I know some people are saying it's going to start shortening again, but I don't think it's that way. I think it's going to continue to get longer.
Yeah, I mean, I take my 5 pills every morning, and my parents had a lot of the congestive heart failure and the stroke issues, et cetera. And I think medicine has progressed, and we got to deal with it. We can't just expect it to be the same. And again, like I said, is the baby boomers have changed every phase of life as they move through it.
Right.
So it behooves us that we better figure this out, and it's just an opportunity. We got I say 7 to 10 years. We better get it done by then, and then we'll have a better place for all of us.
Right.
So.
Well, and the movement has to be continuous. I mean, there's none of this, okay, we did the plan, now you file it away. No, we've got to keep acting on it and moving forward with what is the next step. And it may not even resemble what we've got today.
Absolutely.
But it will be, if it doesn't resemble it, it'll be better.
Yeah, I think we're it's already, changing, et cetera. But you're right, it has so many moving pieces. It's about the workforce. It's crazy to think about how we're going to deliver care, and it's the different patterns and people are being raised that millennials are different than the baby boomers in the way they act and what they want out of their employment and their work life, et cetera, and life in general. So I think we all have to think about this, I just feel blessed that I'm, at a wonderful not-for-profit and wonderful community that is,
right.
Maui's great. There seems to be oftentimes some controversy, but I always say it's great because we're talking about things.
Right.
We're trying to solve it, and that's one of the beauties of Maui.
And thank goodness we have people like you who are willing to jump in and be a part of this and help lead the way. And I know it seems to me, I remember that there were a lot of people who all of a sudden said, oh, don't take my park, and that's the initial reaction. Sure. People have been using that park for what, 100 years?
Yeah, a long time. Right?
Yeah, and so to think that I can't send my kid over there to play baseball anymore? No, you can't take that away from him. Well, there's going to be an even better new baseball field, maybe a half a block away or whatever the distance is. I don't know what it is. But we got to keep looking for the whole community. We can't concentrate on any one generation.
And I think there's new models. I mean, I do believe in intergenerational growth and stuff. So to the extent we can have that happening, I think many of the council members have been talking about that. I think that's a good thing. I see when we bring kids in to see the kupuna, and their eyes light up, and kids and dogs, it's amazing.
Oh yeah.
And it's touching to see that and see them happy to be at at a nursing facility. They're happy there, and because there's a lot of activity. So we'll figure it out slowly with the community. We're not trying here to take anything away from the community. We're here to work with the community on this, and
right, to enhance the community for the future of our future and the Keiki future.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as I think we said earlier, it's a start, and it can't stop here. It's got to keep moving.
Right.
And I know you're going to do that. That's why you're there.
We'll see. We'll see. Keep on chugging away.
I keep thinking about all the times we worked together when you were over at the hospital, and the dream you had for turning it into a more private hospital. And I see where it is today, and I think, oh my gosh, what would have happened if Wes hadn't been there?
I think it's a natural evolution. I just trying to, I just happened to be there. I think so. Anyway, but enough said. We
put you in the right place at the right time, is what it sounds like.
I don't know.
And you enjoy it, and that's what's so great about it. It's it's been great having you on the show today, and giving us some insight as to what's going to be happening. And if people want to give you some of their good thoughts, your website or call you or what?
HollyMakua.org. I think it's www. Did I get the right amount of W's? Yeah, 3 of them. Yeah, HollyMakua.org. Yeah, you can call over there. We will, as we move along. We got a long way to go. We'll be reaching out to the community. We're just sort of in the dreaming phase and talking to the county if it's possible right now. So we definitely will want to be very involved with the community and with the not-for-profits. Not-for-profits rule, right, Susie?
Right.
Here, they do an incredible job for the whole county, and I think people realize how important they are to delivery of service. So, we'll definitely be reaching out. I mean, we're trying to be as transparent as possible on this. We don't know everybody, but we are trying to reach out. We've been visiting all the senior clubs, and I'm trying to visit as many people as I can.
Right. Very good. Well, let's. The second half of the year is going to go just as fast, I'm sure. But we hope to keep in touch with you and have you on the show a few more times, if not this year, next year, talking about the progress that you're making. And if you have any big announcements to make during that time, give me a call and say, Susie, I need half of a show.
Yeah, always a pleasure being on your show, Susie.
Thank you, Wes. We really appreciate it. Wes Lowe, CEO of Holly Makua Health Services. Maui Nonprofit Notes is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. Give Paul and his staff a call at 986-0380 or stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Base Yard on East Oahe Way to see how they can help you with your building project. The Maui Nonprofit Directors Association's purpose is to provide an opportunity for nonprofit agency directors to gain personal and professional support through cooperative development activities. Maui Nonprofit Directors also provides an opportunity for networking to affect significant positive change in our community. Please visit our website at mauinonprofit.org for a list of member agencies. And if you see one there that you want to learn more about, click on their website and take a look at what they do and see if there's some combination of activities you can get involved with them and help them. Today we visited with Jessica Krause of Patch, that's parents, people attentive to children. I knew I was going to get that one wrong. And Wes Lowe, who's the CEO of Holly Makua Health Services. Got an update on what their agencies are doing. If you've heard anything today that makes you want to get involved with them, give them a call for more information or check out their websites. We also want to keep you up to date with what's going on Maui by liking us on Facebook at KAOI 1110 AM and following us on Twitter and Instagram at KAOI 1110 AM. We want to thank you all for tuning in. Hey, 4th of July, have a nice, safe one the rest of the day. Don't forget to join us again next week right here on Wednesday at noon. KAOI Radio, 1110 AM on the FM dial at 96.7, 96.5 on the west side, and 98.7 upcountry, when we'll feature 2 other representatives of our nonprofit directors. Until then, I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week, everyone. Aloha.